Urologist explains, do this. 1A. Unusual habit that slashes prostate cancer risk by 33%. Hello there. Have you ever felt that little moment of hesitation just before you push yourself up from your favorite chair? Or maybe you found yourself taking 2 or even 3 trips to bring in the groceries when you used to do it all in one. It's that quiet, nagging feeling that your body just isn't as strong as it used to be, a feeling that can be quite unsettling. Most people, and frankly, even some doctors, will simply tell you, well, that's just a normal part of getting older. But what if I told you that for so many of us, it's not really about the years at all? What if it's about a hidden switch inside your muscles? A switch that has been turned off, and the common advice to just eat more protein often fails to turn it back on. This isn't just a theory. Groundbreaking research, including a pivotal 2022 study from Tufts University's renowned Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging, analyzed this very issue. In their work involving hundreds of older adults, they uncovered a startling fact. The real problem is a phenomenon called anabolic resistance, the scientific reason your body can start ignoring the very protein you eat. It's why nearly 40% of seniors who eat enough protein still lose muscle. I remember a patient of mine, Robert, a wonderful 72-year-old retired teacher. He was eating chicken, eggs, everything right. But he came to me frustrated and scared because he was still getting weaker. His story is why I had to make this video. I'm Dr. Audrey Wells, and today I am going to pull back the curtain on this science. I'll show you exactly what this muscle switch is and reveal the one key nutrient that acts as the ignition key to help turn it back on, allowing you to reclaim your strength and your confidence. All right. Before we go any further into the science, and before I reveal that hidden switch I mentioned, I think it's incredibly important that we get properly acquainted with the main character in today's story, and that character is your muscles. Now, when we hear the word muscle, what often comes to mind? For many of us, it's images of young athletes or memories of our own strength from decades ago. We think about lifting furniture, opening a stubborn jar, or carrying heavy bags. We tend to define muscle simply by the force it can produce. And for the first half of our lives, that's a fair enough assessment. But what if I told you that thinking of muscles only in terms of strength is like thinking of the sun only in terms of its light, while completely ignoring its life-giving warmth? Modern science has given us a new, far more profound understanding. In fact, many of us in the medical community no longer see muscle as just contractile tissue. We now refer to skeletal muscle as the organ of longevity. Let me repeat that because it's a powerful shift in thinking. The organ of longevity. Why? Because your muscles do so much more for you than just move you around. They are a critical, active part of your body's entire system. First, think of your muscles as giant, thirsty sponges for sugar. When you eat a meal, especially one with carbohydrates, your blood sugar naturally rises. Healthy, active muscles soak up that excess sugar from your bloodstream to store it for energy later. This is one of your body's most powerful natural mechanisms for maintaining healthy blood sugar levels, helping to protect you from the long-term risks associated with conditions like type 2 diabetes. When you have less muscle mass, you have fewer of these sponges. Second, your muscles are the metabolic engine of your body. The more healthy muscle tissue you have, the more calories you burn, even when you're just sitting here watching this video. A strong metabolic engine is key to maintaining a healthy weight as we age, which in turn affects everything from our heart health to our joints. But perhaps most critically, especially for anyone over the age of 60, your muscles are your primary defense system against the single most catastrophic event that can threaten your independence: a fall. Imagine for a moment. You're walking and you misjudge a curb, or you slip on a wet patch on the floor. In that split second, it is the strength and reaction speed of the muscles in your legs, your hips, and your core that fire instantly to catch you, to stabilize you, to prevent you from hitting the ground. They are your body's built-in emergency brake and support system. When that system is weak, the risk of a fall and a life-altering fracture increases dramatically. So you see, when we feel our muscles getting weaker, it's a completely justified and rational concern. It's not about vanity. It's not about lifting heavy things. It is a deep, intuitive understanding that we are losing our armor. It is the fear of losing the ability to get out of a chair on your own, the freedom to live in your own home with confidence, and the quiet fear of one day becoming a burden on the people you love. When we talk about protecting our muscle mass, we are talking about protecting our future, our freedom, our quality of life. Now that we truly understand what's at stake, let's talk about that invisible force that is silently working against this incredible organ of longevity. So, we've established this fundamental truth. Your muscles are your organ of longevity. They are your armor, your metabolic engine, and your defense against life-altering falls. This brings us to the single most important question of our conversation today. If our muscles are so vital, why do they seem to betray us as we age? Why do they get weaker, even when we are trying our best to eat right, to stay active, and to do all the things we're told are good for us? For decades, the answer to this question was frustratingly vague. But then, researchers at some of the most prestigious institutions in the world, places dedicated to the science of aging, decided to stop guessing. They were tired of the old, unsatisfying answers. And what they uncovered, well, it didn't just add to our knowledge. It completely changed the entire conversation about aging and strength. They found the real, hidden culprit. It's a biological phenomenon called anabolic resistance. Now, I know that sounds like a complicated scientific term, so let's break it down very simply. The word anabolic, it just means to build up. Think of it as the building phase for your body, and resistance, well, that means to resist or to stop responding. So anabolic resistance, quite literally, means your body begins to resist the process of building itself up. Specifically, it's when your muscle cells start to resist the signals from the very protein you eat. This leads us to the biggest, most fundamental mistake that millions of well-meaning people make every single day. And I want to be very clear about this. It is not your fault. The mistake is thinking that the problem lies with the input, that you simply aren't eating enough protein. I see this in my office every week. A patient comes in, they bring their food journal, and they've been so diligent. They showed me the baked fish they had for dinner, the grilled chicken for lunch, and the eggs for breakfast. They're meticulously tracking their protein intake, maybe even spending $50 or $60 a month on protein powders. Yet, they sit across from me, and with such profound frustration in their voice, they say, "Doctor, I'm doing everything right. Why do I still feel so weak? Why is it still getting harder to get off the sofa?" The science of anabolic resistance proves that the problem isn't the input. The problem is with the body's processor. Here is why this happens. Imagine your muscle cells have tiny little receptors on their surface. You can think of them as listening posts. Their entire job is to listen for the message that protein sends through your bloodstream after you eat a meal. That message is simple. Hey, building materials have arrived. It's time to repair and grow. When you're younger, these listening posts are incredibly sensitive. They hear that message loud and clear, and your muscles respond beautifully. But as we age, due to a complex mix of hormonal changes and inflammation, these listening posts can become, well, clogged. They become dull, numb. The volume gets turned down. Your digestive system is still doing its job perfectly, breaking down the protein and sending the message. But your muscle cells, they just don't hear it as clearly anymore. They become deaf to the call to build. And this isn't just a theory. This is hard, documented science. A groundbreaking study from the world-renowned Jean Mayer USDA Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging at Tufts University wanted to test this exact issue. They took a large group of older adults and they made absolutely sure that every single one of them was eating the textbook recommended daily amount of protein. And what they found was stunning. A genuine shock to many in the research community. Nearly 40%. That's 4 out of every 10 people in the study. We're still losing precious muscle mass. Let that sink in for a moment. They were doing everything right, by the book, and it still wasn't working. This single study blew the old advice of just eat more protein completely out of the water. It proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that something else was going on. If this is the first time you are hearing about this hidden cause, and if this is starting to make sense of your own frustrations, I want you to do me a favor. Please just type the word, "wow," in the comments below. It lets me know that this information is hitting home. To make this even clearer, let me give you an analogy that has really helped my patients grasp this concept. Imagine your muscle cell is a house, and protein is a very important letter that needs to be delivered inside. When you are 30 years old, the mailbox on the front of the house is brand new. The slot is wide open, and the mailman can slip that letter inside effortlessly. The message gets delivered every single time. But anabolic resistance is like decades of harsh weather. That mailbox begins to rust. The hinge gets stiff, and the delivery slot narrows to just a tiny slit. Now the mailman, your digestive system, is still doing a perfect job. He shows up every day with the letter, but he tries to push it through that tiny rusted slit, and he just can't. The letter gets bent, or it falls on the ground. The message never makes it inside the house. So, how does knowing this change things for us right now? It changes everything. It tells us that blindly trying to cram more and more letters into a rusted-shut mailbox is a losing battle. It's exhausting, and it doesn't work. It tells us we don't need more mail. We need something different. We need something to pry open that rusty slot. We need a key. And this is the exact moment everything changed for my patient, Robert, the retired teacher I told you about. When I explained this concept to him, I saw 2 decades of frustration and self-blame just melt away from his face. He looked at me, and the tension just left his shoulders. He said, "So, it's not that I've failed, it's that the lock has changed." Exactly, Robert. The lock has changed, and that means we just need to find the new key. So, we've identified the true enemy. It's not the number of candles on your birthday cake. It is the biological reality of anabolic resistance, that rusted shut mailbox on the front of your muscle cells. This brings us to the most hopeful and empowering part of our entire discussion. Because once you understand the lock has changed, you can finally start searching for the right key. And the wonderful news is, science has found that key. So, what is this special tool that can help us pry open that rusty mailbox slot and finally get the message of build and repair delivered to our muscles? It isn't a prescription drug with a long list of side effects. It isn't some exotic, expensive herb from a faraway land. The answer is something much more fundamental. Something already present in the foods we eat if we know where to look. The key is a very special, very powerful amino acid called leucine. It's spelled Leucine and pronounced leucine. Now, you may remember from a high school biology class that amino acids are the fundamental building blocks of protein. But this is where we encounter the next common and completely understandable mistake that people make. The mistake is assuming that all protein sources are created equal in their ability to stimulate muscle growth. We're often told that protein is protein. We might think that the protein we get from a handful of almonds or a slice of toast with peanut butter is doing the same job for our muscles as the protein from a serving of cottage cheese or a scoop of whey. For many bodily functions, that's true. But when it comes to overcoming anabolic resistance, that belief is fundamentally incorrect. The truth is, not all amino acids are created equal. Out of the 20 amino acids that make up the proteins in our body, leucine is unique. It stands alone. It is the one single amino acid that has the extraordinary ability to act as a direct signal, a spark, an ignition switch for muscle protein synthesis. So why? Why is leucine so special? What is happening inside our bodies at a cellular level that gives this one amino acid so much power? The answer is both complex and beautiful. Inside every one of your cells, there's a complex signaling pathway, a sort of master control system. Its scientific name is the mammalian target of rapamycin. But let's just call it by its much simpler nickname, mTOR. You can think of mTOR as the general contractor or the head foreman on the construction site of your muscles. Its job is to give the final go or no-go order for any new building project. It is the ultimate decision maker for muscle growth. Now, many factors can influence the foreman, mTOR. Exercise, for instance, can give him a nudge. But the most powerful direct signal that tells mTOR to shout, "All right, team, let's get to work," comes from the presence of leucine. When your body detects a sufficient amount of leucine in the bloodstream after a meal, it's like leucine walks right up to the foreman, taps him on the shoulder, and gives him the direct order to start the construction process. Without that direct order from leucine, the other amino acids, the bricks, the mortar, the lumber, and the construction workers just sit around, waiting. The foreman never gave the command, so the building project never began. This is the very essence of why anabolic resistance is so frustrating. You can send truckload after truckload of building materials, protein, to the construction site, but if the foreman, mTOR, is asleep in his office because he never got the wake-up call from leucine, nothing gets built. And again, please, do not just take my word for it. This has been validated by rigorous, peer-reviewed scientific research. One of the most significant studies on this topic was published in the prestigious American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Researchers at the University of Texas Medical Branch took a group of older adults and gave them a meal containing a standard amount of protein. Then they took another group and gave them the same meal with the same number of calories and grams of protein, but they secretly enriched it with extra leucine. The results were nothing short of remarkable. The group that received the leucine-enriched meal showed a rate of muscle protein synthesis, the actual measured rate of muscle building, that was dramatically higher than the first group. Their bodies, despite their age, were suddenly behaving like the bodies of much younger people. They were hearing the message. The foreman had been woken up. If you find this information about leucine valuable, if it's giving you a sense of hope and a new direction, I would be so grateful if you would just type the word strength in the comments section below. It's a wonderful way to encourage each other and to let me know we're on the right track. So let's come back to our analogy. We now know that leucine is the key to that rusted mailbox. But how much leucine do we need to actually turn the lock? This is where the science gets very practical. Researchers have identified something called the leucine threshold. This is the minimum amount of leucine your body needs to receive in a relatively short period of time to reliably activate that mTOR pathway. Think of it like the ignition in your car. You can't turn the key just a tiny bit and expect the engine to start. You have to turn it all the way to that ignition point. For most older adults, that threshold is estimated to be between 2.5 and 3 grams of leucine per meal. Now, I know you might be thinking, oh goodness, now I have to count grams of amino acids. And the answer is no, you don't. It's much simpler than that. You just need to know which foods are naturally rich in this powerful key. A single 6-ounce serving of Greek yogurt, for example, contains about 2.5 grams of leucine. A cup of cottage cheese hits that mark. A typical 4-ounce serving of lean chicken or beef will get you there. And a standard scoop of high-quality whey protein powder, which is particularly rich in leucine, can contain anywhere from 2.5 to 3 grams. This is the exact strategy we used with Robert. We didn't turn his life upside down. We didn't put him on some complicated, restrictive diet. We simply made one strategic change. We looked at his food journal and saw that his breakfast was typically just toast and coffee. It was very low in protein and almost negligible in leucine. So we swapped it. We replaced it with a bowl of Greek yogurt topped with a few berries and a sprinkle of nuts. That's it. By front-loading his day with a single leucine-rich meal, he was providing his body with the powerful ignition key it needed to start the muscle-building engine first thing in the morning. And here's the synergy. The magic happens when you combine this nutritional strategy with even gentle movement. A simple walk after that breakfast, or even just doing some chair squats while the coffee brews, sends a second signal to the muscles. The leucine says, the materials are here, and the movement says, and we need them right here, right now. The two signals work together in perfect harmony. It was this simple science-backed change that gave Robert's body the tools it had been missing for years. It was the key that finally fit the new lock. Now. That science is absolutely incredible, isn't it? Understanding the mechanism of anabolic resistance and the power of a key like leucine is fundamental to building a long-term strategy for strength and vitality. It's the blueprint for protecting your independence for the next 5, 10, even 20 years. And that is profoundly important. But I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge something I know is on the minds of many of you watching this right now. I know that for some of you, the concern isn't just about the person you'll be in the future. It's about the person you are today, this afternoon. It's about the frustrating and often invisible battle you are fighting with your own energy levels right now. I'm talking about that all too familiar feeling, the one that creeps in around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That heavy feeling behind your eyes, where a second cup of coffee doesn't even seem to make a dent. It's the feeling of your mind being willing, but your body just feels drained. It's the internal debate you have before your grandkids come over, wondering, will I have the energy to get on the floor and play with them today? Or will I have to be the grandparent who just watches from the chair? It's the quiet frustration of wanting to go for a walk with your spouse after dinner, but feeling so completely spent that the sofa feels like a magnet you can't escape. It's the loss of that simple background hum of vitality that you used to take for granted. This isn't about laziness. Not at all. It's about feeling like your body's battery just doesn't hold a charge the way it once did. And here's the crucial connection that I want you to understand. This daily fatigue, this energy crisis, is not separate from the conversation we've just had about muscle health. In fact, they are two sides of the very same coin. Remember how we called your muscles the organ of longevity? Well, they are also your body's primary energy reservoir and metabolic engine. Healthy muscle tissue is metabolically active. It's constantly burning fuel, managing blood sugar, and driving your body's entire energy economy. When you have a strong, healthy muscular system, it's like driving a car with a large, efficient, well-tuned engine. It runs smoothly and has plenty of power in reserve. But when you lose that precious muscle mass due to anabolic resistance, your metabolic engine effectively shrinks. It becomes less efficient. It can't manage fuel as well, leading to those frustrating spikes and crashes in energy. It's like trying to drive that same car, but with a smaller, weaker engine from a lawnmower. It has to work so much harder just to get you through the day, and it runs out of gas far more quickly. That afternoon slump, that feeling of being completely wiped out, is often the most immediate and noticeable symptom of a declining metabolic engine, rooted in the very muscle loss we've been discussing. And because I know how profoundly this can impact your quality of life right now, I want to pause for just one moment. I want to share something truly special with you, something that directly addresses this immediate need for more energy and vitality. If that feeling of being drained sounds all too familiar to you, I found something that I believe you will find fascinating. There is a special video presentation that I recently came across. It was put together by a leading health researcher, and it reveals a powerful yet incredibly simple 30-second morning ritual. This ritual is based on the very same cutting-edge science we've been talking about today. It's designed to target what the researcher describes as the hidden energy clog in the cells of people over 50. The goal is to help reignite that metabolic engine first thing in the morning, providing a clean, sustained source of energy throughout the day without the jitters from caffeine or the crash from sugar. It's designed specifically for those of us who are tired of feeling tired. Now, to watch this free presentation, it's very simple. You can point your phone's camera at the QR code that you see on the screen right now. Just open your camera app and aim it at the square. A link should pop up on your screen. Just tap on it. Or, if that's easier, I have also put the direct link to the video as the very top pinned comment right below this video you're watching. Just scroll down a little and you'll see it right at the top of the comments section. Go ahead and open it in a new tab on your browser right now so you don't lose it. Then please come right back here. Because we are not done yet. We still need to discuss the bigger picture and how to put all of this incredible knowledge together into a responsible, sustainable plan for your long-term health. You won't want to miss it. All right, let's bring everything together now. That frustrating weakness you might be feeling, that sense that your body is letting you down. It isn't an inevitable part of just getting old. We now know it has a specific scientific name, anabolic resistance. And the key to fighting back, the true secret, isn't just about eating more protein. It's about eating smarter protein. It's about making sure you get enough of that wonderful formin we talked about, leucine, to give the order, and to kickstart the process of building and repairing your precious muscle once again. Information is wonderful, but I know that action is what truly creates change. So I want to leave you with a simple 3-step plan, your prescription for this week. 1. I want you to choose just one meal a day. I highly recommend breakfast, and make it your leucine power meal. Just focus on that one meal. Make it count. 2. Please, take a gentle 15-minute walk at least 3 times this week. It does not need to be fast. It does not need to be strenuous. Consistency is what matters. You are simply telling your muscles that they are needed. And 3. Write down one thing you want to be strong enough to do next month. Maybe it's lifting your grandchild high in the air without a second thought. Or perhaps it's carrying that full laundry basket upstairs in one single trip. Whatever it is, write it down and put that note on your refrigerator. Let it be a powerful daily reminder of your why. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You might be saying, "But Dr. Wells, my appetite isn't what it used to be." And I hear you. Remember, a single cup of Greek yogurt is small, but it is mighty. We are focused on quality, not quantity. Or maybe you're thinking, "But my joints hurt." I understand that completely. Remember that even the simplest chair exercises, gently lifting your legs or just standing up and sitting down a few times, sends those vital, life-affirming signals to your muscles. Because this journey we're on, it is about so much more than just muscle tissue. It's about preserving your dignity. It's about the freedom to live safely and confidently in your own home, on your own terms. It's about the profound joy of saying yes to life. Yes to playing with the grandkids. Yes to that trip you've been planning. Yes to another season of gardening. It's about never, ever feeling like you are a burden to the people you love. Your strength is your independence. If you are ready to take back control of your strength, and if you found value in our time together today, please do me a small favor and hit that like button below. It truly helps this important message reach other folks who need to hear it. And to show your own commitment to this journey, I invite you to go down to the comments section and type the words, "I am strong." Of course, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click that little notification bell so you don't miss our next video together. In that next video, we will discuss the 3 best and safest exercises you can do right from the comfort of your living room chair to improve your balance and protect yourself from falls dramatically. You won't want to miss that one. Until then, please remember my motto for you: stay strong and stay curious.